I know that this is kind of random, but I have some chapstick that I keep here, and all of a sudden, like, I came in this morning, it's just like gone. Just like melted overnight or something. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're all having a fantastic day. Maybe it's a morning like it is right now, afternoon and evening. You're watching in the middle of the night with a late night snack. Whichever way, I appreciate you stopping on in, as today we dive into a full album reaction of Hawkwind. It's been a little bit since we've listened to them, and I was deciding what album I wanted to listen to this morning, and this is where I ended up. I felt like listening to them, and I see that this album is quite recommended by you guys. So we're going to take a listen to Quark, Strangeness, and Charm. This is their album, their 7th studio album, released in 1977. Some of you that had suggested or at least mentioned this album: Stephen Jeffries, Saturnine Bear, William McKenzie, Tom Byrne, JHLM2HX, Robert Goodfellow, and a Goodfellow you are, Steve King, King you are, Stephen Brown, Stephen Sabella, Mr. Grahawk, Scotty Moondog, Jacobin, Andrew Gibson, Ben Dorney. The list is going on. More than 2 years back, Ian Wilkinson, N. Kirk, Garmit, Cosmic Cat, Peter Blatchford, Phil Bell, Peter Harper, Zal Monxes, Frank Pendagelli. It's going down. There's a lot of people. And now I'm at 3 years. 5 years back, One Nelson DJ, John House, X Lerb, Cockle Shell Zero. Thank you guys. Gastric Bunsen from 4 years ago. Don't want to forget you. You said your favorite album is this one from them. Thank you guys for the suggestion. Listen, I'm very happy to dive into a little bit more Hawkwind, and the album title has my attention. It has a certain quirk, a certain strangeness, a certain charm. To get the plugs out the way, the Buy Me a Coffee is there if you'd like to sponsor us on request. You have something that you just absolutely want me to listen to, jump in line over there, the VIP, so to speak. Patreon for exclusive content. And just right here on YouTube, just listen to the music, relax alongside with me, and we'll just chill, listen to it, discuss it a little bit after, and kind of go on from there. Let's go ahead and start off with the first track, Spirit of the Age. This sip of water, because I already had my coffee, is to you. Starts off like the album cover, to be honest. Some sort of transmission. I wonder where that's from. I love a good fade-in. Morse code too. You know we gotta decode what the Morse code is.
I would have liked you to have been deep frozen too.
Sounds like Newman.
And waiting still as fresh in your flesh for my return to Earth. But your father refused to sign the forms to freeze you. Let's see, you'd be about 60 now, and long dead by the time I return to Earth. All my time-held dreams were full of you, as you were when I left. Still underage. Your android replica is playing up again. It's no joke. When she comes, she moans another's name.
Okay.
That's the spirit of the age. 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 Ah, the spirit of the age. That's the spirit of the age. Ah, the spirit of the age. That is the spirit of the age. 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 I am a clone, I am not alone. Every fiber of my flesh and bone is identical to the others.
Okay.
Everything I say is in the same tone as my test tube brother's voice. There is no choice between us. If you had ever seen us, you'd rejoice in your uniqueness and consider every weakness something special of your own. Being a clone, I have no flaws to identify. Even this doggerel that pours from my pen has just been written by another 20 telepathic men. Oh, word for word says, oh, for the wings of any bird other than a battery hen. That's the spirit of the age.
It kind of sounds a little Bowie-esque in some capacity too.
That's the spirit of the age. That's the spirit of the age. That's the spirit of the age. It's just 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 the spirit of the age. It's the spirit of the age. It's the spirit of the age.
Calm down. Now we're kind of back in this transmission kind of feedback a little bit. Just like it began. Small change in that kick.
Spirit of the age. 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 Spirit of the age.
Okay, we'll catch the transition there. on the next track. Okay, so with Spirit of the Age, we still get Hawkwind. We still get like those long fade-ins with the music coming in here, kind of looking exactly like the album cover. It's like this sci-fi-esque, here it's like a laboratory or something. We kind of get a lot of different sounds in that laboratory. And then it's almost like this transmission signal is sent out, and then Hawkwind is responding to the signal from outer space, and they're slowly coming to fruition, coming to our ears, and they become more clear in our viewpoint. And I like when they do that. I think that it's a formula that works really well for them. And especially with the way the music kind of rhythmically and repeatedly lulls you in, right? Like here, especially, there's not a lot of changes. I don't think there's any changes really tempo-wise. It really is just one long kind of musical stream of consciousness as it just trance-like induces you in. But then, the groove of it all is really nice. The bass, the drums, you still get some really nice fills in those drums that change it up just a little bit, add a little bit of rhythmic power there. Everything sounds like cool in that regard. Going with the kind of sci-fi-ish theme that I'm gathering from the album cover. You have Simon House on the keyboards and different things, and I like the sounds that he chooses, especially in the second verse. You hear those synths begin to rise up as well as the singing in here. Now you're gonna have you have Dave Bruck and Robert Calvert performing vocals here. I would think it's gonna be Robert singing on this track. Don't quote me, but I think that it's gonna be Robert singing here. And I like how in the second verse, as he rises in his cadence, so does those keyboards, or so do those keyboards as well, which makes for a nice kind of powerful filling effect there in the music. And then, of course, it kind of fades out in its own way back into that kind of cool psychedelic jam. The singing here, and to an extent, some of the music and the delivery of it all reminded me a lot of like Gary Newman. Especially when he first started singing, it sounded very Newman-esque. And then, I don't know why, but later on I started feeling a little Bowie as well in some capacity. I'm not quite sure why I got Bowie, but I did feel a little bit of that in here as well. So it's a little bit different, but it's still more the same. And I think that that's a nice way of, when a band is progressing, when they're making their subsequent albums, you want the albums to be different, but you also want them to be the same. In a certain way, you want to listen to the same band. And I think that this track does a nice job of kind of reintroducing us into this particular album. Immediately, later on, this was here. I like the, once again, the use of the space, the groove. It always continues on in its own way. But just like right there, the bass, changes things a little bit. Here on the bass, you're going to have Adrian Shaw handling that. And I just like the way that, throughout their same pace or same tempo, there's those little changes, there's those little things that kind of pique interest, so to speak. Let's look at these lyrics here, which are kind of interesting. I would have liked you to have been deep frozen too, and waiting still as fresh in your flesh for my return to Earth. But your father refused to sign the forms to freeze you. Let's see, you'd be about 60 now, and long dead by the time I return to Earth. So he got frozen. What is that? Crypto? No, not crypto. Cryostasis? Is that what it's called? Cryostasis? That sounds right, I think. And she didn't get those forms released. My time held dreams were full of you, as you were when I left still underage. Your android replica is playing up again. It's no joke. When she comes, she moans another's name. Well, the replica just ain't doing it right. And you can imagine, I would assume that they were, I'm just going off the lyrics, I'm assuming that they were both underage or, around that, and said, I guess we're going to freeze ourselves. But I guess that did not work. That's the spirit of the age. That is the spirit of the age. I'm a clone. I'm not alone. Every fiber of my flesh and bone is identical to the others. Everything I say is in the same tone as my test tube's brother's voice. There is no choice between us. It's very far ahead in the future. Kind of dystopian a little bit. If you had ever seen us, you'd rejoice in your uniqueness and consider every weakness something special of your own. I like that line. Every weakness is something special to you because we're all the same. Being a clone, I have no flaws to identify. Even this doggerel that pours from my pen has just been written by another 20 telepathic men. Word for word, it says, "Oh, for the wings of any bird other than a battery hen." Interesting that the 20 telepathic men are forcing the clones to write, "Oh, for the wings of any bird other than a battery hen." But perhaps being a clone, a battery hen is kind of what they are. But they want to be anything else, something unique, something different, even if it means weakness. Kind of interesting, huh? There is an article for this particular track. It says, the lyrics are composed of two of Robert Calvert's science fiction poems, the first verse being the Starfarer's Dispatch, which he had recited at shows whilst being the resident poet in the band, and the second being the clone's poem. Okay, both of them were published. Throughout the song is a rhythmic electronic pulse. The repeated sound is the Morse code for SOS. There you go. The song was a popular addition to the band's live set and even remained after his departure in '79. There's a more aggressive version. There's a single. Benka Gaia released a cover of this, interestingly enough. I mean, with the groove of it, I could hear that very easily kind of being made into something a little bit more electronic, in that regard. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track, which is going to be Damnation Alley. Let me get to the end of Spirit of the Age. We'll let it lead into it. Sounds like an air raid alarm. But a little more synth. Very pretentious. Almost has a 60s kind of sound. This almost has like a glam rock kind of sound from like Bowie and stuff. That's what I'm thinking of.
Radiation wasteland, ashes fishes and post-atomic dust and the sky's raining fishes. It's a mutation zip going down Damnation alley. Well, good luck to you.
Here's the spaciness. I like how the air raid siren has kind of come back here faintly. Violin. This is a moment of standout. That was a great section. City, what a pity it's gone. Louisiana Delta, where the Mississippi's dried up. Man, it really does just fade in, huh? Okay. I know we only heard like 5 seconds of Fable of a Failed Race in the very ending of Damnation Alley, but it is sounded like it was moving into like a David Bowie groove. So I'm kind of hearing almost like a space rock, Hawkwind, David Bowie glam rock kind of combination, like Starman Part 2. Damnation Alley. The verse of everything, I don't know why, but it's giving me like a 60s kind of pop rock song, I guess. Like I don't know, it has a 60s flair to it. Something slightly psychedelic, sure. But then it moves into the best part of this track, and that is the violin, the synths, house. It's his house in this particular track. This is fine, right? This is nice, cool, conventional, straightforward. Nothing wrong with that. But when it moves into all this, I like the return of that error siren sound, but kind of in more of a faint, subtle way there. It seems like some sort of staticky rain begins to downfall, and then the bass carries things over, and then, ooh. Then the violin comes in. This whole instrumental section is truly gorgeous, and I know that this is the second track on the album. What, there's 8 tracks on here? I'll put a bet down that that's probably going to be the best moment on the album. I hope I'm wrong, because I'd love to have more best moments on the album. But that was such a brilliant instrumental section in the middle of, kind of sandwiched in between something a little bit more straightforward, which I thought was a really smart choice. You know, it gets you in with the conventional, lets you put your toes into the pool, say, ooh, this sounds good, I like it, fine. But then it leads you down into deeper waters, into those shadowy depths, and man, do you find some leviathans down there. I think that this was such a wonderful section. Like, all that I could listen to all day with the way that they performed there. I could absolutely sit there and just jam out to that all day. And I wouldn't doubt it if live, this track, they extend that, rather, because it's just such a standout moment. The way they bring it back with the high-pitched noise, and they eventually... Kind of almost the guitar riff in here, which is from Brock, it almost has a little bit of a southern rock flavor to it. Like southern side of the universe. Let's look at the lyrics here. I've got this serum and I'm going to take it all the way to Boston. No, I've got to get through. The going won't be easy, but I'm going to make it. It's the only thing that I'm cut out to do. Okay, very dystopian, especially described here next. Ride the post-atomic radioactive trash. The sky's on fire from the nuclear flash. Driving through the burning hoop of doom in an 8-wheeled anti-radiation tomb. Thank you, Dr. Strangelove, for going doolally and leaving me the heritage of Damnation Alley. No more Arizona, now Phoenix is fried up. Oklahoma City, what a pity it's gone. Louisiana Delta, where the Mississippi stride. No more Chattanooga, Cherokee, Lexington. Radiation wasteland, Ash is coming at me, craters coming at me now. The radiation wasteland, I've got my anti-radiation machine. Thank you, Dr. Strangelove, for giving me ashes and post-atomic dust. The sky is raining fishes. It's a mutation zoo. Going down Damnation Alley. Well, good luck to you. It's kind of like this is the, in this dystopian future, this post-atomic world and wasteland, obviously the world's just a radiation disaster. And now he's got to make it through this road called Damnation Alley. It's kind of like Mad Max. What was it? Fury Road? Isn't that what it was called? Like, was that the name of the road, or was that just like the title? I can't remember. And then obviously, like, I've never seen Dr. Strangelove, but I know even I've seen like brief, I guess, videos, I guess, of him riding the bomb. But I don't have any idea what the movie's even about. I've just seen that image, and riding it like a horse, buckaroo. Let's move on to the next track here. Fable of a Failed Race. We'll let it lead in. It was very brief there. Man, that middle section was fantastic, though. like, does already this groove, doesn't it sound like something you could hear Bowie singing over? Right in his Ziggy Stardust days. Love their voices washing over the groove. Very kind of magical, ethereal kind of sound. I like that a lot. Getting into a dreaminess. Now I'm used to the longer tracks. This was a short one. You know, at least on a first listen, it sounds like this one wasn't necessarily connecting to the next track, which is the title track. It could very well. We'll try and find out. But this one, like the first three tracks here, feel like they've at least transitioned kind of seamlessly towards one another. And Fable of a Failed Race kind of, I mean, on first listen, kind of acts like as a perfect conclusion to this trio of songs with the emotional, you know, guitar, the very beautiful way that all of their voices rise in cadence above the music, this very soft and deep groove. I really like that. It feels like a nice emotional conclusive wave to kind of bring everything together and end this particular, not side of the album, but like I said, this trio of songs. And I think it was really beautiful how the music came in very, very much from a distance. Like I said, I like when Hawkwind do that. They're one of those bands that it's almost like they build an anticipation. Like you hear it and you're like, ooh, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. You know, then you can hear the bass, then you can hear the drums. Then you, like little by little, those colors, or not even those colors, those outlines are filled in with color. And I like the way they do that. It's a simple thing to just fade something in, but I think it works well for their effect. And when you can hear their voices, which you can kind of hear from right there, it's so faint, but it's like, it does sound like voices. But once it comes in, I'm enamored. Let me not speak for you. Let me speak for myself. I'm enamored, and I love how their voices wash over everything. And then, like I said, once you get here into the solo, it's just a really powerful send-off. And there's not a lot of lyrics on this one. You know, it's very brief in what it's talking or speaking of, but it's just enough. It's not overcrowding the song. The music's truly speaking for itself here. Our legends tell we came from a seed that traveled at a whirlwind speed, till it came to rest upon this land that once was green and now is all sand. What is this, Dune? So that buried us up to our eyes and made us watchers of the skies. Don't tell me. That was not in Genesis. Reference to the shadow wings came for our sight and left us to conspire with night. So this is the fable of a failed race. Now you're blind and in the sand. Like Shahalut. Let's move on to the next track here, which is going to be the title track, Quark, Strangeness, and Charm. I'm going to let it lead into it. It didn't seem like it was transitioning into it, but we'll find out shortly. It's like it's a true fade out.
Einstein was not a handsome fellow. Nobody ever called him out. He had a long mustache to pull on, it was yellow. I don't believe he ever had a girl. One thing he missed out in his theory of time and space and relativity is something that makes it very clear he was never gonna score like you and me. Did I know about Quark, strangeness and charm?
This is so different from what I'm used to.
Strangeness and charm. Quark, strangeness and charm. Quark, strangeness and charm. Quark now. I had a dangerous liaison. To be found out would have been a disgrace. We had to rendezvous some days on the corner of an undiscovered place. We got sick of chat, chatter, and the look upon everybody's face. All that does not antimatter. Now we found ourselves a black hole out in space, and we're talking about Quark, strangeness and charm. Quark,
Nice roll.
strangeness and charm. Quark, strangeness and charm. Quark, strangeness and charm. Here it comes, it goes Quark, Quark.
It's that solo.
Had those Renaissance ladies crazy about his telescope, and Galileo had a name that made his reputation higher than his hope. Did none of those astronomers discover, while they were staring out into the dark, that what the lady looks for in her lover is charm, strangeness, and quark? Quark, strangeness, and charm. Quark, strangeness 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 and charm. Here it comes.
Quark, strangeness, and charm. Tell you what, I didn't love this track. It's my least favorite on the album so far. Maybe it's me. It definitely could be a me thing. But when I wanted to listen to Hawkwind today, this particular track and the sound of it isn't what I like was looking was looking for necessarily. I think it's a little. It's a little basic. Like there's just, I don't. What does the word quark mean? Isn't that? I think it's either strange, or it's like a unit of energy. Quarks are fundamental particles and basic constituents of matter that combine to form composite particles called hadrons. All right. Now, the only reason I kind of thought about that is because, if I remember correctly, a quark was featured in an episode of Dexter's Laboratory. Very few of you know what I'm talking about there. But wasn't it in Dexter's Laboratory? I'm pretty sure. Or it was a show like that. Anyways, what am I thinking of? I mean, the song is like catchy and like in its own way. It kind of, like I said, hits that sort of 70s glam rock kind of feel and a little something to it. But you know, I don't know. There's just nothing. There's nothing that gets my attention in this one. There's nothing that charms me. There's no strangeness in it. It's just kind of. Honestly, it's just kind of there and it kind of goes. The solo's nice, sure. But I'm not feeling much from this one. Honestly, kind of disappointing. Einstein was not a handsome fellow. Nobody ever called him AI or Al. Al. Thinking of AI. He had a long mustache to pull and it was yellow. I don't believe he ever had a girl. One thing he missed out on is in his theory of time and space and relativity is something that makes it very clear he was never going to score like you and me. He didn't know about quark, strangeness, and charm. I had a dangerous liaison. To be found out would have been a disgrace. We had a rendezvous some days on the corner of an undisclosed place. We got sick of chit-chat, or chat-chat-chatter, okay, Adrian Blue, and the look upon everyone's face. But all that doesn't not antimatter now. We found ourselves a black hole out in space.
Please clap.
Copernicus had those Renaissance ladies crazy about his telescope, and Galileo had a name that made his reputation higher than his hopes. Did none of these astronomers discover, while they were staring out into the dark, that what a lady looks for in a lover is strange, or charm, strangeness, and quark? Saying you guys were smart, but you had nothing. You had no way with when it comes to romance. I mean, if I had to use my soundboard to describe my feelings about the song,
No, thanks. No, thanks.
it's fine.
Yeah, no, thanks.
Let's not focus, however, on the things we don't like or dislike. Let's move on and find something we do like. Perhaps we'll find it in the following track. Hassan, sabbah? Is sabbah? Sabbah. Great intro. We're back. Say we're back. We're back. Very nice kind of Eastern sounds here.
Black September, Black September, Black September, Black September, Black September, Black September, Black September. Death unto our infidels in oil. Guide us, O thou genie of the smoke. Lead us to a house of that one light.
Violin.
In the loving garden of delights. Petrodollar, 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 petrodollar.
That's good. Love how that kick kept going. It's a cool build-up. Big snare. That's the stab. See, that's what we needed. After the disappointment of the previous track, Hassan, this is with Damnation Alley. Okay, now we got two standout tracks, in my opinion. So, the leaning into those Eastern chords and themes. Not only does House's violin playing really just wonderfully move into that so comfortably, but even the singing kind of leans into a little bit of that accent to an extent. And I don't think that I don't think that it sounds in any way like, disrespectful or anything like that. It's just a little something to kind of give it a little bit of that particular charm. And I think that it sounds absolutely wonderful. The lyrics as well, repeated, but the way that it's repeated in almost like a mantra, it sounds really cool in this track as well. And it all kind of adds to this kind of mysticality that it's kind of imbued in here. The playing in the middle especially. This build-up with the way the kick continues into this and just breaks away. It's really, really fantastic. The bass playing is wonderful. The ba-ba, 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 ba-ba. That rhythmic melody is heavy, and there's almost like this stabbing motion to it, like musically, like there's a ba ba, like there's musical jabs where ba 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 ba, like there's boxing in there. I think that that's just it makes for, to me, a very exciting listen. That particular kind of rhythm, the little echo on his vocals adds to this kind of spacious sound, as if he's singing to a wide open expanse of a dune. Yeah, I just fit 2 sci-fi projects in there. Like, that's just fantastic. And Simon goes off here. He's stretching into those strings, man. He's stretching into that. Hashish, hashin, hashish, hashin. Black September, Black September. Death unto all infidels and oil. Guide us, O thou genie of the smoke. Lead us to 1,001 nights in the perfumed gardens of delight. Get a lot of references here, huh? Petrodollar, petrodollar, petrodollar. That's interesting how they changed it there. It is written in the soul of the desert. It is written in the signs of the stars. It's written in the sands of the hourglass. It is written in the eye of the falcon, the shade of the scorpion, the wealth of the sun, that man's truth is a mirage, that death is an oasis. It is written for all unbelievers. This is a cool track, man. What does Hashishin mean? Assassins. Oh, okay. Okay, so it's assassins. And then Black September. This line refers to the Palestinian terrorist organization named after the war who was responsible for the Munich massacre during the 72 Summer Olympics. Black September organization. Gotcha. That's a cool track. I like that. Right now, this is my favorite track on the album. Damnation Alley still has my favorite moments as of right now on the album, but this is my favorite track as a whole on the album. Let's see what the Forge of Vulcan has for us. That's a playful sound. Like a forge hitting the anvil. That sounds really cool. Okay. The next two tracks I'm going to let play together since the final track is only like a minute long. Forge of Vulcan is a really cool instrumental track. I love the sound here. Obviously, like House is very much handling the sound in this one because it sounds wonderfully synthetic. But I like how it's, the Forge of Vulcan and there's actually an anvil being played because I see that he's credited with playing anvil. And the sound is very like Tangerine Dream, kind of that early electronic sound, which of course this is the 70s, it's right in that era. And it sounds really cool. There's almost this big organ-esque kind of sound that adds to this epic nature. And not only do you hear obviously the anvil, but at certain points there's some other big drums that are very subtly used in the back, but you can still feel their oomph back there. So it sounds like musically we're inside of this working forge and we can hear the different metal workers and such working in the back, and it has this kind of mystical feel to it. Now, I do see here that it says that that he actually brought an anvil with him and used it live. Do you think we can find some footage of that? Because we're going to take a quick look and see if we can. So, Forge of Vulcan, we're going to see Hawkwind. Let's see if there's any live footage. I just want to see if he, if there's any live footage of him actually beating on the anvil as they go. I do not see. I don't see live footage here, unfortunately. Is this live footage? Is this live, or is this like? No. Okay. I thought it was going to be live footage from a concert. No. Forge of Vulcan. Hawkwind live. When's this from? 2025, last year. Do you think you think they have Forge of Vulcan in here? Forge of Vulcan. Not in the track list. Get it out of here. Pagan Prog Orchestra. Did you guys bring a anvil? Oh, this is the wrong song. It's a good song, though. That's cool. Can't find it. All right, but it's a really cool track, though. There's nothing to mistake about that. Let's listen to the next two tracks, which, like I said, I'm going to let them play together since the final track, The Iron Dream, is only about 1 minute 50 seconds long. The Days of the Underground, leading into The Iron Dream.
In visions of acid, we saw through delusion and rainbows pollution. We knew we were right. The streets were our oyster. We smoked urban poison and we turned our noise on. We knew how to fight. We dropped out and tuned in. We spoke secret jargon and we would not bargain for what we had found. In the days of the underground. We've been reading Guevara. We saw that head held up and our anger welled up, but we kept it cool. No need for machine guns, the system was crumbling. Our
catchy
leaders
rhythm.
were fumbling while we broke every rule. We saw them on TV, they lowered their cover, and we tried to smother their voices with sound. In the days of the underground. Whatever happened to those chromium heroes? Are there none of them still left around? Since the days of the underground. Now we can look back on the heroes we were then, who made quite a start then with our sonic attack.
You had to bring in the laser
Street
gun.
fighting dancers, assassins of silence, with make-believe violence on 100-watt stack. They offer made it, but not smiling Michael. His black motorcycle got eaten by rust. And John the Bot dreamt that he slept over Rio. When he woke it was Rio, too late to have sussed. And Jeff was a poet who wrote with a spray can on wall saying, hey man, I believe that we've drowned in the days of the underground.
I think that's a cool, straightforward track that works really nicely. Really catchy. Those fade-ins, they work. Like how it's just exploding. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Quark, Strangeness, and Charm. And the album has a little bit of all of that here. Okay, so Days of the Underground is another shorter, catchier, I guess more straightforward track from the band. But I feel like there's something to this one, like rhythmically, that's pleasing to listen to. The actual way that it's staged and it sounds is really like nice to listen to. And the actual movement of it. Kind of carrying on in a sense from Hassan. It has a similar jabbiness to it. I think that works really well. And I really like this singing in here after each verse and line is sung. You know, there's a little space where the instruments can kind of get released and kind of do their thing. And I think that this track works really well in their style, as opposed like to the title track, in my opinion. This one keeps it grounded in their particular way, you know, grounded, Hawkwind, space rocket. But I think that they excel in this particular space. The synths sound really good, and I love the laser sounds that they bring in, because why not? And I like how this song perfectly leads into the Iron Dream, kind of reminiscent of Forge of Vulcan. It's just a, you know, starting off at least very synthetic and Tangerine Dream driven, but then eventually the rest of the instruments fade in, as like we said, this is what they do, and it becomes kind of like Fable of the Failed Race. It becomes this conclusion to this particular arc, in this case the album, but also arguably like this side of the album, just as Fable finished off that side of the album. So I like how they use those bookends within the album to make a satisfying conclusion out of everything. And I think that Iron Dream does a wonderful job of bringing it all around, bringing all the members back in for one last fade in before fading out to their stars. In visions of acid, we saw through delusion, a brainbox pollution. We knew we were right. It almost has a gong-like sound the way that they're singing in there. The streets were our oyster. We smoked Durban poison, and we turned all this noise on. We knew how to fight. We dropped out and tuned in, spoke secret jargon. We would not bargain for what we had found in the days of the underground. They found something, and they weren't going to lose it. We believed in Guevara. We saw that head held up, and our anger welled up, but we kept it cool. No need for machine guns because the system was crumbling. Our leaders were fumbling while we broke every rule. There was no need to rebel in such an outright way because, as they say, the system was falling down already. This almost acts as like like, what's the word? Not premonition, but like as they were talking about like the, with Damnation Alley, the end of the world, and this dystopian desert and radiation and stuff, this seems like the days before. We saw them on TV, they'd blown their cover, and we tried to smother their voices with sound in the days of the underground. Whatever happened to those chromium heroes? Are there none of them still left around since the days of the underground? Now we can look back at the heroes who were then. We made quite a stir with our sonic attack. Street fighting dancers, the assassins of silence, with make-believe violence on a 100-watt stack. Yeah, they were just playing their music in rebellion. That was their way of rebelling. They offered us contracts. We said we don't need them. We'll just take our freedom and will not be bound in the days of the underground. So now it's really, this is actually just about their music in general. And some of us made it, but not Smiling Michael. His black motorcycle got eaten by rust. And John the Bog dreamt that he slept at the wheel. But when we woke, it was real. Too late to have sussed. And Jeff was a poet who wrote with spray can on walls saying, "Hey man, I believe that we've drowned in the days of the underground." So I wonder if these people that they mentioned here in the last verse, if they're basing that off of real other musicians or other people. Perhaps Michael, John, and Jeff. More so Michael and John. Who could they have been? Let's see if we can figure that out. Days of the Underground is a self-reflective song covering the Halcyon days of the band. Okay. I thought we were going to get a little bit more of that. Iron Dream is an instrumental based off of Mars from Gustav Holst. I didn't even get that. The track was typically played live as a climax to Uncle Sam's on Mars. It's kind of interesting. I didn't even look at this really. Damnation Alley was inspired by the book Damnation Alley. Okay. Hassan is Sabbah is a Middle Eastern flavored song mixing the legend of Hassan is Sabbah, assassins and hashish, with contemporary issues, oil and Palestinian terrorism. It is a Paul Rudolph-Robert Calvert collaboration. During the live performance, Calvert took on the persona of Aubrey Donnie, which he describes as sort of a 1914-1918 fighter ace, plus a bit more. Just acting up there. I didn't even realize there was an article for Quark, Strangeness and Charm. The title refers to quarks, which are subatomic particles. Strangeness and charm, playful terms used by physicists to refer to how many strange and charmed quarks are within a particle. Released as a single. At the time, Hawkwind shared the same management as Mark Bolan, and so were given a slot on the Mark Granada television program to promote it. Brock declined to appear, either being unwilling to drive to Manchester for filming or holding a long-time grudge against Bolan. Okay. For the pre-recording of the music on the show, Adrian Shaw played guitar, while Calvert mimed playing guitar during the filming. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Did it get any charts or hit any charts? The Stranglers, huh? He said, oh, that's awesome. Burnell said it was a song that he wished he'd written. That's really cool. I didn't care for the track, but still think that's cool. I don't see any chart information on this one, so perhaps it did not necessarily make any splash in that regard. Regardless. Very, very interesting album. I can't say that it's my favorite from the band, but I can say that Damnation Alley and Hassan is Sabbah, absolutely wonderful. Really liked also Forge of Vulcan, just with the sound here. I would say that this run from Hassan down is really, really good. And Damnation Alley is fantastic, especially that middle section. And Fable of a Failed Race is really nice, concluding this side of the album. I think there's a lot of good in this album. Some not, but I think that there is a lot of good listening to this one. Even though the title track was disappointing, but everything else, nice to listen to. I would love to hear what you guys thought of it. Of course, down in the comments below. Buy me a coffee's there. Once again, if you'd like to sponsor a song request, Patreon for exclusive content. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for being here, for spending some time with me. Hope that you enjoyed it all. Please come back by again tomorrow, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys.